Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Dan Ratner, and you are watching MFSN. This is our basketball waiver wire show. Well, I don't know about you all, but I'm totally confused. It feels to me like it should be like 9:30 at night or 9 p.m. at night, but now we're doing it during the day. Of course, people will be watching this later, so you could still watch it at night. I am here with Casey Scheinwald, also known as Vlad to the Bone, and Ross the Boss.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk waiver wire basketball with you, cowboy.
Oh, wow. An extra long delay.
A long pause.
That was a long pause. I'm excited. It's going to be a great show today. We have a lot to talk about, Dan. So, you know what? Let's start quickly. Let's not have all this gabbing back and forth about your life. I don't really care about your life. I don't care about Flat to the Bones life. I want to talk waiver wire. I want to hear what players are available. I want to hear I should pick up. We're almost in the middle of the season. All-Star break is coming up. Who do we have? Go!
I was gonna say I'm gonna bring the players to you, but you were talked so long I wasn't.
There we go again. You're jabbing away. Now, who do you have? Go.
Okay, we're gonna start this way with point guards this time. We'll talk about must-haves. We'll talk about strong pickups. We'll talk about deep league pickups. It's 60% and under in Yahoo. That's how we're measuring this. So let's go with point guards. If they have multiple eligibility, that's fine. My number one pickup this week is someone that will make Ross the Boss very happy. Point guard / shooting guard, Kendrick Nunn of the Miami Heat. Where do you guys have him ranked in your pickups? He is on fire.
Yeah, I have him as my number one pickup this week. I mean, he's playing a tremendous amount. He's getting, I believe, 35 minutes a game in the last 2 weeks. He's putting up points. He's putting up assists. He's getting assists. His metrics are good. His percentages are good. He's even getting a fair amount of steals. And it's a lot of value right now for you at this point in the season if you're dealing with injuries or other issues on your roster.
Ross, how about you? You own him.
You guys said it all. I managed.
Okay, then you nominate someone else.
I enjoy Kendrick Nunn a lot. You guys said it all. He steals. He gets like almost 2 steals a game the past 2 weeks. He's in the top 40 right now as a player in the top 2 weeks. Also, he's getting a lot of playing time. And I think even even when Hero comes back, I think he'll still get 25 to 30 minutes a game. I think it's a must pick up. Great call, everybody. Do you want to hear who I have as my number one point guard this week?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Subban Lee for the Detroit Pistons. You know, just because he's playing like 30 minutes a game, he's averaging 16 points a game, huge games. He gets steals, he gets rebounds, and he also gets assists with Wright, with Dominique Wright out for about 3 weeks, they say, for a while. Lee's going to get a lot of playing time in Detroit. It's a great pickup for you. I like this kid a lot, and I think it's a must pick up this week. I'm Ross the Boss.
All right. Now, we have a question coming up here, and it's from Matt Kleinman. Matt has been one of our staunchest supporters. He's here asking questions a lot. So, Matt, shout out to you. He asks, do you think LeBron will get hurt from all the playing time that he's currently putting in? Also, should I trade Harden for the Greek Freak? Now, let's go with the LeBron question first. I'm gonna jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
I think LeBron is one of the most mentally strong players ever. The guy never gets hurt. He's not going to get hurt. I don't see it happening. The only time he got hurt is when he went to the Lakers that first time. He got an injury. It was almost like he chose to sit out. To sit out. What kind of English is that? Chose to sit out. Listen, LeBron does not get hurt. I wouldn't worry about that in the slightest. I also don't think he's going to sit because he wants to win the MVP. Now I'll turn it over to you guys on the should.
I disagree. Disagree 180%. I think LeBron is playing way too much time. He's 36 years old. He has the world on their shoulders. I don't think it's a great time to own LeBron. I know somebody in my league that traded LeBron for Towns, which is a great move on his part to get rid of LeBron now. I have a bad feeling about LeBron. I don't wish ill on everybody. That's what I don't wish any ill on LeBron. I just feel he's playing too much. I watched him play last night. Four losses in a row. LeBron doesn't like to lose. I feel something's going to happen and something's going to break. We'll see what happens. But right now it's a great time to trade LeBron. Just trade him away. Goodbye, LeBron.
Casey, break the tiebreak. You're the tiebreaker here. What do you say about LeBron?
I'm going to be very political. I can see both sides of the argument, but my thinking of why I don't think it will cause him to break down or get injuries is he's one of the most cerebral players we've ever seen. Like, he doesn't need to rely on sheer athleticism or sheer effort to impact the game on the offensive end. As long as the Lakers can figure out a way to protect him defensively so that he's not guarding a really tough assignment, that would be, I think, where he would experience the most kind of breakdown over time, is if he's guarding a number one scorer and trying to keep up with that. If they can manage him defensively, I think he can impact the game without overwhelming himself on offense and still survive those minutes.
I agree with you entirely, and Ross disagreed 180%, which is like the 180 combined with percentage.
It's the opposite. 180% is the total opposite.
No, 180 degrees is the opposite, you fool.
The Lakers are losing,
degrees.
and I think they might even shut LeBron down for like some of the second half of the season. That's my opinion. We'll see what happens. I could be wrong.
Right. Listen,
but it's a great time to trade him. Whoever traded him for Towns is a genius in our league. I don't know who that is, but he guys is a genius. He traded one-on-one Towns for LeBron straight up. I love that trade. It's unbelievable. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, listen, we're gonna go to Anthony Cruz's question first. Matt Kleinman, I'm gonna come back to you about Harden for the Greek Freak. Anthony Cruz says, I made a trade mistake by trading Paul George for Marcus Smart. Ooh. Here's why. I made this trade because I thought his bone edema would be a problem moving forward. However, since I've built my team back up. Nice job, Anthony Cruz. Now, this is one of three. He's got more coming, so bear with me. This is like an essay. My team is Luka, Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, Middleton.
How many people in this league? Two? I mean,
I was going to say, that's a shallow league.
I mean, looks like a 10-team
two people? I mean, there's no way he has all these players.
Snake draft, I guess.
Oh, wait, he has Jokic.
Jokic. I mean, there's no way. This guy, there's no, I want to see his league. Have him send the link to his league right now. He has Jokic. There's no way. It's impossible.
Okay, just so that you don't have a coronary, we're gonna go ahead and say, Anthony Cruz, I'm guessing you're in an 8-team league because you are loaded.
Go on with the question.
Maybe he also has Novak Djokovic and not Jokic.
He has Jokic. He has LaMelo Ball also. Of course. Darius Garland, Jaylen Brown. McCollum, maybe it is a 16 league.
The whole all-star team. Forget this guy. There's no way he has all these players. Who's in his league?
But if he does, congrats to you, man.
Seen basketball before. There's no way this guy has all these players on his team. Okay, keep going. I'm already sick to my stomach.
Focus. 10-team league, points league. Anthony Cruz has done a brilliant job. And apparently Victor Oladipo is available on his waiver wire. What do you think if I dropped Darius Garland for Victor Oladipo? Oladipo has a serious problem with being out of the lineup, but he's still worthy of a pickup.
I mean, there's no way you can lose a league. Ray Charles can manage your team and you will lose the league. There's no possible way you're going to lose this league with a 10-person league, and you just mentioned like 5 all-stars on your team. These are like, so you have first-round picks on your team, like 5 of them. There's no way you can lose.
Listen, I need to explain something to the audience. When Ross acts like this is just Ross the boss. And so, Anthony, don't be offended by him. The people who know him know that he's a very
Why would he be offended? Guy. I'm complimenting his team. Why would you don't understand? I'm not making fun of the guy. I'm saying like
he's proven
people in this league are like could be the dumbest people in the country. I never.
You're like, I love you. I love you, and I will kill you. Okay, listen. Anthony, I think he is worth a pickup. Go get Oladipo. We would love to hear more of your questions. Matt Kleiman, I'm still going to get back to you, but I think we need to move it along a little bit in point guards. Who else is a good pickup? I've got one that I'm just itching to say. I'm happy to do it, but Casey, I'm going to let you start. You have anybody?
I'm going to go with Garrett Temple right now out of Chicago. That's my guy. He's playing really well with Markkanen and is it Carter who's still hurt? I'm blanking. He's getting a lot of minutes right now.
Yep.
I think he's playing both the 1 and 2 in the backcourt with Kobe White. So he's getting, it's not hurting his time. It's not cutting into him. And he's putting up really good numbers right now. I just think all across the board, he's helping you. He's stealing, he's good percentages. Again, kind of similar to none in a lot of ways.
Let me make a quick point about Garrett Temple also. He always hovers around the level in 12-team leagues where he should be owned and sometimes cut. So he's always been really good, but he's playing his best this year. And I think he's here to stay. Ross, do we have anybody else in point guards that you feel we need to mention?
I got one more. This guy's a Miami Heat player. He's been hurt for 2 weeks. He hasn't played at all in 2 weeks. He came back last night, played like 16 minutes. He had 15 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Goran Dragic. He's playing. When he's playing, he scores like 18 points a game. He's available in like 58% of the league. A lot of leagues dropped him because he's been out so long. If he's available in your league, it's a good pickup. And you're saying, Ross, why would I pick up another guard from the Miami Heat? You already said none. Well, he gets a lot of playing time. The Heat loves to play 3 guards at a time. Hero, even they play Hero, they play none, and they also play Dragic there. And Dragic's a good pickup right now. Go ahead and pick him up right now.
I think that's good. I also have Jalen Brunson has been playing well for the Mavs. A lot of scoring. Tyus Jones is somebody, he's not so great, but if you need assists, he's a cheap guy to get. Now, I want to say, for those of you out there who haven't already, click subscribe, hit like if you like what you're hearing, ring the bell for notifications, and put your comments below. One other thing to say. If you guys want to come on here, either video or audio, and talk to us, now's the time. It's either now or later. You can't do it in the past, but now or later is fine. And now would be good. You go to www.callmfsn.com, and Anthony Cruz, you've got questions, and you're one of our oldest friends. And so if you would like to come on, we would love to have you. I'll protect you from Ross if you're worried. Now, is there anybody, Casey, that we've missed in the point guard setup that we need to mention?
I was looking at somebody it's super deep. So I don't know if he's a must add. He's certainly somebody to monitor, and that's Jordan McLaughlin with Minnesota. He's playing with D'Angelo Russell hurt. Rubio's not playing great. I know Ross is a big Rubio fan, but he's not playing great right now. Jordan McLaughlin's numbers are improving, and his minutes are increasing. If he takes over the starting role there, which it's being talked about, he could be somebody who instantly becomes a little bit more valuable. Right now, I don't think he's a must-own or even a middle tier, but he's somebody to monitor.
So let's make that point for the audience watching. There are going to be times where you want to pick up a player and you want to get ahead of the curve. Ross the Boss, I'll give you credit for this. You were ahead of the curve on Sadiq Bey. Well, when we get to small forwards, we're going to talk about him. You got in on him because you were a week ahead of everybody else. So it's good to be a week ahead if you can. See what's coming. Okay, now I'm going to move to shooting guards, and a lot of these guys are shooting guards / small forward, which is my favorite positional thing because you can play them at the guard position, you can play them at the forward position. But I'm also going to make a point at this point in the season. When we do this many waiver wires, a weekly waiver wire show, you're going to get a lot of repeat views. Now, don't get discouraged by that. What it's telling you is these are players that you really should pick up now because they're going to be gone soon. I'm going to list just a couple so we don't belabor the point on players we've talked about already. Joe Ingles, Justin Holiday, Danny Green is one that I tend to really like. Ross the Boss doesn't tend to like that kind of player, but he gives you solid value. Those are just to name a few. Guys, who do you have that's either on either side? It could be players that we already mentioned, or it could be new ones.
I have another repeat guy, and I'm going to say it again with a little bit of reflux, and that's Grayson Allen in Memphis. I know he's a Dookie, but he continues to put up good value. He's still a top 80 player in 9 category leagues over the last 2 weeks. And he's 9% owned, I think, when I checked yesterday. Let me double check. Yeah, 9% owned, playing 30 minutes a night, hitting almost 3 threes a night with a good shooting percentage. And free throw percentage.
He leads the league in irritation.
He always does.
And the most irritating player ever.
He is, but the numbers can help you.
Listen, that guy puts the Dookie in Dookie.
Oh,
now,
that's
Ross, how about you? Do we have any names that, we just want to run through quickly because we've already gotten to them before?
Well, I kind of want to shine in the spotlight. I mentioned this guy last week. I said, you have to pick him up. He's still available in like 72% of the league. So he's still available. Last night for Oklahoma City, he hit the game winner. He hit 3, the pop, and Oklahoma City won the game because of his 3-pointer. Laquez Dort. Dort is averaging 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, about a steal a game. He's a player that's available on your waiver wire. He's just getting bigger and stronger and better. You better pick him up now. I'm Ross the Boss. This is a must-have. He also went to a great college called Arizona State, the same school that James Harden went to. So Dort's a great pickup. And no, Casey, his name's not Dork. It's Dort, D-O-R-T. So don't bring that joke to me right now. I'm Ross the Boss.
Fine.
All right. Guys, we have a new commenter. Milo, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Milo, actually spelled Myloh. Love that spelling. Okay. He/she says 12-man points league. Who can I get if I trade Al Horford and James Wiseman? I have CJ, AD, DLO, and Keldon injured as of right now. So any position is fine. All right, so let's talk about this. And by the way, Matt Kleinman, I did not forget your question. We're going to get back to you about Harden and the Greek Freak. Sit tight. I'm sorry it's taking so long. Okay, who can Milo get if they trade Al Horford and James Wiseman? What level of player are we talking? Ross, let's start with you.
I mean, unfortunately, Wiseman I like a lot, but he just came off an injury and he hasn't really. His restriction with minutes is up there for Golden State. And Horford started out great when he came back with his wife being on paternity leave and all that stuff. So he came back, he had very strong, but recently he has not been playing that great. So both players, their trade value is not the greatest right now. I don't know if I would want to trade them unless somebody came to me. But guys out there that maybe you can get is maybe like a Joe Harris, maybe a guy like God, I'm just trying to think. I would say you're looking for a guard, obviously, right? So we're doing a segment after we talk about waiver wire about people you should try to trade for that their value is low. So I suggest you keep watching the show, and I'll give you some names during that segment.
But let me tell you this, Milo. Here's the thing to do. You look at your player rankings and look at where Al Horford is rated. Wherever he's rated as a preseason player and however he's performed, let's say you throw in James Wiseman and you market it so you maybe move up maybe 15 spots. So rather than giving you a name, and I could certainly look at the names and tell you, I'm trying to think of somebody off the top of my head that strikes me. I'll if one occurs to me, I will tell you. But you just want to move up in those rankings. If you're making some gains with James Wiseman, then you move up maybe 15 spots in ranking with Al Horford, and then you pick up somebody off the wire and you win that deal. So I would do that. While someone else is talking, I'm going to actually look at the league and get back to you on a specific player, because that is what you asked, and we're here to deliver. In the meantime, guys, let's answer Matt Klein. Now, he asked, should I trade Harden for the Greek Freak? So you have Harden. You're thinking of trading for the Greek Freak. Listen, they're two great players in general. It's totally reasonable. I think it depends on what you need. Casey, what's your take on that? And I'm going to look up something for Milo.
I'm going to look up something. I mean, if it depends what your needs are. I mean, in the last few weeks, Giannis is averaging almost 12 rebounds a game to go with 6 assists, steals, and points. So I think Harden is more offensive, so he's going to give you points, probably a good free throw percentage, a lot of 3-pointers. Giannis is the more well-rounded player. I prefer Giannis because he contributes, I think, in all necessary categories. I mean, he's still averaging 29 points a game. So in the last couple of weeks, it's not like Harden's going to outscore him by a tremendous amount. If you have other scoring on your team, and scoring is not a big issue for you, I would definitely make the trade for Giannis. That's just my opinion, because I like the rebounds, the blocks, the steals, and the lack of turnovers.
I like it too. I mean, I'm more. I mean, they're both great players. You can't lose. It really depends on what you need. Ross, what do you say about it?
I'll say it in 30 seconds. I mean, Casey was doing like a documentary film analysis during his whole analysis of the trade. I feel that Harden's numbers are kind of pumped up right now because a guy named Kevin Durant's not playing. So I feel Harden right now is a great time to trade him because his numbers are really high. He's not going to keep those numbers up when Durant comes back.
That's a great point, Ross.
So I feel right now is a great time to trade Harden. If you have Harden, his value is way up here. So get rid of him. Just say goodbye to him and get up. But Greek the Freak, he's known for a second half player. His stats are so much better in the second half of the season. It's like night and day. If you look it up, go look it up. I'm always right. I would trade Greek the Freak for Harden right now because I feel that Harden's value is way, way too high.
I love that Ross calls him Greek the Freak. I've never heard it. He's the Greek Freak, but I love Greek the Freak. It's even better. All right, Milo, I found some players for you. Okay, now it just because they didn't occur to me off the top of my head doesn't mean I don't know how the players are rated. But here's some players. You could possibly get maybe DeMar DeRozan. You could get Nurkic, who's injured. You could get Christian Wood, who's injured. You might want to pounce on these. These are 3 ideas that I have for you. Let me know what you think about those. Personally, I'm going to say to Matt Kleinman, I think James Harden is a cut above Greek the Freak. That's what we're going to call him from now on. I think he's a cut above. He Ross tried to get James Harden for me. I drove him a very hard bargain. I admit it wouldn't have even been a fair deal. I just told him that's what it would have cost. He's that good. So I would say keep him. Let's keep the questions coming, but let's get back to shooting guards. And who do you guys have that's kind of either new? Who do you have that's new to the list? I have one guy. It's funny. My list, I have 9 guys on this list. Only one guy is a guy that we've never mentioned.
I want to hear who it is. Who is it?
It is Matisse Thybulle. This guy,
Sixers.
He's doing almost nothing except for his steals and blocks, but he's going insane in steals and blocks. So if you need that in a matchup, and let's say you're playing in a league where we could do pickups in midweek, don't complain, Ross. We already know what your stance is on that. So
hey, Ross,
he's
what's
a
your
guy,
team name?
Oh God, don't say that. We'll get to that later. All right. Matisse Thybulle is providing huge amounts of steals and blocks. And this is a guy that he's a total back end guy. You only keep him for a couple weeks or something like that, but he's somebody I would mention. Who do you guys have that's relatively new? Casey, we'll start with you.
I don't really have anybody new in the shooting guard category. I have Josh Hart listed also, but he's a retread. We've said him a bunch of times for New Orleans. He's been playing great.
Wait. So. Hold on. Let me just stop and say, listen, retreads, we should not be ashamed about retreads. This show is trying to get people the best players we can get them. It doesn't matter if we've said them before. We'll try to say it in ways that are really spiced up and new, a new Josh Hart. But the fact is, Josh Hart is good to own whether we've said him before or not. We're not going to BS you. We're going to give you the best players. We're not just going to be like, oh, here's this new player that you might like. No, the fact is we got to get you the best players. Josh Hart is definitely on my list. I talked about Jeremy Lamb last week. He got cut in our league. Unfortunately, he got picked up by Andrew. It always bothers me when he gets somebody of value. Jeremy Lamb, pretty good player. Jayshawn Tate, we talked about last week. This guy's getting
I'm a big fan.
Big minutes. He's hitting tons of threes. He's a great player. Derek Jones Jr., he's another guy. He's a fringe guy, but you could add him. These guys, Derek Jones Jr., Kent Bazemore, and Matisse Thybulle are my guys who are like, listen, I'm not recommending adding them, but if you need a body, you need a warm body, they have blood pumping through their veins. Ross, who else do you have at shooting guard?
You kind of mentioned, because I go last, I get screwed every time on this show.
We'll let you go first.
You always have to go first. The past 2 times you've gone first and you've taken all my ideas. So I said Derek Jones Jr., if you need defense, steals and blocks, he's been tearing it up. If you need that category, pick up Derek Jones Jr. Another guy that Casey brought up last week, who I liked a lot, plays with Dallas Mavericks, is Josh Richardson. Josh has been averaging 12 points a game, about 4 or 5 rebounds a game, 3 assists, a couple steals, at least a game. I mean, he's playing unbelievable. Josh Richardson plays 35 minutes a game, and he's playing great. And he's a defensive specialist, too. He's great on defense. That's why he signed up with the Mavericks this year, because their defense last year was horrible. So Josh Richardson, if he's available in your league, you need a shooting guard, small forward, go for it. It's a good pickup.
All right. I just want to remind everybody out there, if you haven't already done so, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And if you want to come on, go to www.callmfsn.com. We would love to talk to you. And now, one thing I love to do when Ross gives me a hard time about something and says that I'm not fair is I immediately become fair because I'm a fair.
No, you don't. So, you never go fair. You go
really?
First. You name all these. Like, you
really?
like 6 players off. So Casey and I are like deer with headlights.
Hey, Casey,
like,
guess what?
What are you doing? You host the show.
What?
You predict who goes first. It's always you for some reason. I don't know why. It's the strangest thing. Guys, let me tell you who I like. It doesn't make any sense. I want a democratic society. You are a dictator, and you got to admit it that you loved going first. You loved the spitting out.
This is a guy who accuses me.
It's unbelievable.
You accuse me of being a dictator and someone who's too democratic all the time. You're perfect at this. So here's what we're going to do, Ross. You are going to go first in all 3 positions for the rest of the day. Small forward, go.
We talked about him before. Josh Jackson, as much as like he's been dropped and picked up, Joshua Jackson did for the Detroit Pistons. This guy, the past 2 weeks, he's been averaging like 17 points a game. He's getting rebounds. He's getting assists even. This guy is playing really well, and the coach loves him in Detroit, and he's back on the A list. If he's available in your league, you should pick him up. If you need a small forward slash, I think it's a shooting guard too. But that all being said, pick him up. It's a great pickup. Another small forward that's getting a lot of playing time right now, I talked about it last week, is Jay Crowder. Jay's actually plays a lot of defense. He loves to hit threes, and he's somebody that is probably available in your league. The small forwards for me this time are not the strongest position right now, so I don't know how many are out there. But like as Dan said, a lot of shooting guards, all small forwards too. So just remember that.
Okay, Casey, who do you have?
In addition to that, I mean, obviously, I think we all have Sadiq Bey still. We mentioned him at the beginning. He qualifies only at small forward, I think, right now. So he certainly fits as the must-own there, playing incredible minutes, and they seem really committed to giving him the ball. So he's also involved, getting heavy usage in that offense, and it's producing for him. But I also, as a deeper look, is Kenrick Williams for Oklahoma City. He's been getting a lot of minutes, 25 minutes a game, which is pretty good considering he's only 3% owned, and that's how deep he is. Points and rebounds kind of guy. He doesn't really make threes. His percentages are good. And defensively, he gets a lot of steals.
Okay, so now I'm going last. Everybody notice.
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Oh, be quiet. All right, now listen. I'm going to run through the names that we've really covered before. We can talk more about it. If you guys have questions about why they're on this list, you let me know. Nicholas Batum, I've talked about. Yes, he has faded some, but he's still a very ownable guy. Royce O'Neal, Jay Crowder, I really like that pick. Miles Bridges is another that's teetering on the brink of ownership now. I may cut him. We'll see. Carmelo Anthony, we've talked about it. He really is putting up the value. But now,
just points for Carmelo. Carmelo won't get you rebounds, he won't get you assists, won't get you steals, won't get. But if you need points, Carmelo Anthony's a great pickup. I agree.
Well, that's true. But he is getting rebounds. But Kenrick Williams, I like that pick. There are two guys on injury that you may want to scoop up. Otto Porter. He's a decent scorer and rebounder. You can get him for free because nobody wants him right now. Stick him on your injured slot, and if you have a league like ours where you can't get waivers every day, you can then slot him in when he gets better. I do this all the time. DeAndre Hunter he's going to be out for 2 more months, but he's a difference maker. If you have room on your bench, stick him in your injured slot. Last one I want to say. This comes from my friend Chris Atwater. He was watching my Q&A where I dissed Rui Hachimura, which I've done multiple times this season, and he pointed out, I don't know why you're so down on him. So I took a quick peek. Well, Rui Hachimura in the last 2 weeks has been great. Chris Atwater may be onto something, and I can admit when I was wrong. Now, we're going to go to power forward, and we're going to go not with me first, but with Ross the Boss.
So I'm going to mention some players. You might have them, you may not, but I just want to bring them up because I feel they're good pickups. This guy named DeMarcus Cousins, we call him Boogie because he's Boogie. He is no longer going to be on the Houston Rockets. He demanded a trade. He doesn't want to be associated with the organization anymore. He is going to be traded before the All-Star break. Before he left the team, he was averaging 14 points a game, 9 rebounds, and like 2 assists in the past 2 weeks. So he's been doing great, and he's in great shape. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, he's been playing like 20 to 25 minutes a game. Wherever he goes, he's going to get a lot of playing time. It's going to be a team that needs like a power forward center to take that position and just start playing. So Boogie is probably being dropped right now because has a big NA next to his name. What does that stand for, Dan? It stands for not available. So it's a good time to pick him up. And if you probably just sit him for a week, maybe a week, maybe less. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but he's a great one. I mentioned this guy last time. It's Jacob Paletti. He plays for the San Antonio Spurs. Jacob Paletti, I said his name last week. I said, pick him up. I begged my audience to pick him up. And some people did. I noticed in our league he was picked up, which is nice to see. But Jacob Paletti has been getting rebounds. He's getting points, plays like 20, 25 minutes a game. He's a power forward / center. I suggest you pick him up right now. And another guy that I love is Marcus Morris Sr. We call him Senior. He plays for the LA Clippers. I thought with George and Leonard coming back, I didn't think he'd getting much playing time. This guy's getting playing time. He's shooting threes. He's out there like doing everything. He's like part of the team. I was shocked. So that all being said, if you need a 3-point shooter and you need a guy that's going to score points on a really good basketball team, the LA Clippers, I call him Senior. Senior's the guy for you.
See, I'm glad you clarified that because I thought his name was I thought his name was Marcus Morris Senior. But now I understand.
But the funny thing is, I watch a lot of Clipper games. The announcer for the Clippers doesn't even call him by his name; he just calls him Senior. So he's known by Senior.
Senior
in the telecast, they just call him Senior. And it's I don't want to understand why players have junior and senior on their names. It's not like they're juniors playing in the game or I just don't get that whole thing. But
if it's a famous senior, you gotta be a junior.
If it's Ken Griffey Jr., I can see that because his dad played with him on the same team. But unless your son is playing with you on the team, which could happen with LeBron, but his son is not even named LeBron, so they don't have to do the senior junior thing.
We have a comment coming in from this is another return commenter, Lucius Varenus 44. I remember all of these names.
Lucius,
I remember. By the way, I also want to give a shout out to Milo for subscribing. You are the man/woman. I don't know whether you're a girl or a guy. You have to let me know. Okay, Lucius Varenus 44 says a little bit of a different question. I'm starting to look ahead at playoff week schedules. Love your thinking, Lucius. Very smart. I've noticed that the Mavs have so many games during the playoffs, and this is because they had a lot of games postponed because of COVID, and they happen to have a 2-game week schedule a couple weeks back. Is Luka the league winner this year because of that? A fantastic question, Lucius. We're going to go to Casey first. Ross, you can complain about that later.
Well, I certainly hope so, Lucius, because I'm a Luka owner in our league, so I hope he does. Obviously, it's helpful to have somebody who's going to play that many games during the playoffs if their percentages are good, if their turnovers are bad. So the turnovers aren't bad. That's the only risk you run with Luka. He's shooting terrible free throws this year. I'm not sure what's going on with him. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I know he's been killing my team, it seems like, week in and week out with his numbers in that respect. And he's been turning the ball over a lot. But he's a guy who is a walking triple-double, having more games than anybody else during the week is certainly a powerful person to have on your team. And it brings up an important point, and something we've talked about in the past in these live shows is looking at the schedule and looking at the teams who have the most games. That's a brilliant strategy. If you're already confident you're going to make the playoffs in your league, start to craft your team the way you want it to look in the playoffs. I think Luka is one of the 3 or 4 best fantasy players in the league on average, although he hasn't been playing great this year. So you might be able to get him. He's starting to play in better shape the past few weeks, but he's absolutely a great own in the playoffs this year.
The only thing I'll say is that don't get too cute because you got to make sure you make the playoffs. So see how many weeks you have. If you want to look ahead, that's great, but you got to make sure you're really confident about that. You do want to have, though, those big-time players who are going to have lots of games come playoff time. So I'm going to start taking a peek at that, probably not for another 4 weeks, but then I'm going to start to take a look. Ross, what do you say about this before we get back to power forwards?
Yeah, it's a great. I was going to talk about it later in the show, but the schedule of the NBA just came out yesterday. I looked at it. I checked it out. I did notice Dallas has a lot of games. I noticed that Memphis has tons of games. Charlotte has tons of games. So you got to be aware what teams have more games and what teams don't. So that's a great fact. The other thing about Dallas is this, and you got to keep this in your mind. They're not right now. They're not in the playoffs, and if they're mathematically out of the playoffs, I don't know if he'll be playing. I don't know if Luka will be starting, or I don't know if they'll cut his minutes, or I don't know what's going to happen with Dallas. But it always makes me nervous when a team's not in the playoff hunt. So Dallas has to start winning for me to be like a big Luka supporter right now. I'm not high on Luka right now.
I can see it, but I think, look, you're not going to lose with Luka, and if he's
not at all. No, he's a top 5 player, of course. I agree.
All right, now I'm going to mention a couple of power forwards. These are retreads, but again, we're trying to give you the best players. Bobby Portis has been great.
Yes,
he's a role player, but he's great. Nerlens Noel, his minutes are going up. I think he's a little dinged up right now, so it's not the greatest recommendation.
Let's go back to Noel. I looked at his minutes and I saw his points the past 2 weeks. It was like 7 points a game or something.
Yeah, I look for him for points.
I know, but I'm just telling you, I'm not a big Noel. I know you love Noel and you bring him up all the time. I'm not a Noel guy. I don't see what the hype on this guy is. He doesn't get the playing time. He's not. I don't know. I think there's just better players out there. Pick up Paletti. A lot better.
And you know who could be a better player is, this is an injured player, but Larry Nance Jr. His numbers have dipped below 60%. He should be owned. He's a very good player. Two other deep league guys, Jaden McDaniels of Minnesota Timberwolves. They have a new coach now, and this is a young guy, and he's blocking lots of shots. I like this guy. You might need to get ahead of the curve on him. Maxi Kleber is another guy that I often mention. Casey, anybody else we have from power forward that you have not said?
Nope.
Nice. Let me ask you guys a good question. Dan, I know you're a big Cleveland Cavs fan. Kevin Love is practicing. He's coming back supposedly over the weekend. I don't know what percentage he's available, but I know a lot of people dropped him. He's available in a couple of my leagues. Is he worth picking up as a power forward, or would you not pick him up? What would you do with him in a 10-person league?
10-team league, I wouldn't own him.
In a 10-team league, I wouldn't. Actually, in a 12-team league, I wouldn't.
See, I might if I had a roster spot, if I had room on the very end of my bench, because he's kind of one of those lottery tickets. If he comes in and he's super hot from 3-point range, he can kind of
you could
immediate spark.
But let's look at what we have going so far. If you're picking between Kendrick Nunn, Garrett Temple, Joe Ingles, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, Nicholas Batum, Sadiq Bey, Bobby Portis, all those guys go before Kevin Love.
Right, but the reason I like Kevin Love is this. He plays center, and center, as you know, is not the greatest position to have a lot of deepness in leagues. So that's the only reason I'm bringing up Kevin Love. I know you are an expert on Kevin Love. I can name you quiz questions about Kevin Love, and you can name them all. That's why I'm asking the expert on Love, because I just don't know how much in the rotation he'll be in, and I know you would know.
Oh, we got our chat MVP, Sam Jacobowitz. Yes, we're really early today, Sam. We are actually moving to this time generally. I hope you can accommodate it, because and you know what? I actually did think we got to let Sam know, because you're always here with us. So listen, I got to get your email, man. We got to trade this. We'll figure it out, and we'll make sure that you are apprised of things. But let's quickly get to centers and then trade targets. As Ross said, center is a weak position. Ross, give us a name of somebody that's 60% owned or less, and you think is worth.
Okay, I'm going to mention a few names, and one of them you know very well because you actually drafted him in one of our leagues. Is Mr. Whiteside? Whiteside is going to be traded. They're saying the Lakers. They're saying the Lakers. I'm not making this up. The Lakers.
Who said that a month ago?
I'm just telling you what's happening this week. Things change.
He's on the COVID no play list right now.
He's on that's why I think it's his last game ever playing for Sacramento. I don't think we'll ever see him in Sacramento Kings uniform ever again. He's on the protocol, which means he was in contact with somebody that had COVID. He doesn't have COVID, but he can't play for 7 days. There you go. So that all being said, I think Whiteside could be a good pickup to stash away for a week. And if they give him playing time, and Dan knows this, he'll agree with me for once. If they give him 25, 30 minutes a game, his stats will be great, and he can win you the league. Unbelievably, I agree. Another guy that I love, I watched him play. I watched him beat the Lakers, which I loved. I love watching him. He plays for the Washington Wizards. It's Davis Beltrán. Davis is averaging 12 points a game. He gets rebounds. This ginger. No, I'm just kidding. He has red hair, but I just wanted to give you guys a bad time. So this guy is unbelievable with 3-pointers. He averages 3.4 3-pointers a game. 3.4. That's unbelievable. And the last game he played, he beat the Lakers. He lost to the Clippers, but before that, he beat the Lakers with a bunch of threes. If you need 3-pointers, he's a great pickup right now.
Nice. And I like your reference to gingers. It made me kind of feel like a little bit like Austin Powers. It's like an old 60s reference.
That's why.
Okay, guys. I'm just going to mention a couple centers, and then we're going to have to stop for today. We're going to have to get to trade targets next time. So couple ones. These are retreads, but they are the names you need to know. Robert Williams and Daniel Fias, pair of Celtics, under 60% owned. They're great additions. I didn't have anybody else who's just a pure center position. So actually your point about Kevin Love is good. Casey, how about you? Anybody to add?
I had Robert Williams as my one that I would consider because of the blocks alone. He's averaging over 2 blocks a game. He's getting, only 17 minutes. So it's more of a deep ad, but and he doesn't shoot free throws very well, but he doesn't have to go to the line. He doesn't go to the line much. So Robert Williams was the one guy I was going to say it really is
amazing. It is amazing how thin center is this year. And that's something you need to be aware of when you're going to the waiver wire. So that's why a guy like Hassan Whiteside was always going to be potentially valuable. Has he been a bust? Absolutely. A huge bust. And if you watched our preview, you can put that right on me because I'm the one who was highest on him. But even so, when I looked at the centers, I didn't think there were that great options. We have one last question before we wrap up. It's from Milo. Do you think Jacob Paletti will drop off when everyone returns from COVID, plus with Aldridge back? Yes, I do think that he will drop off some, but he's still going to have enough value as a back-end guy who's going to block shots. Guys, I would give you a chance to respond, but we actually have to wrap up for today. So I want to remind everybody out there, if you haven't already, click subscribe like Milo did. That's a genius right there. Hit like if you like what you're hearing. Put your comments below. Ring the bell for notifications. I'm all out of order, but do it all. And we will answer your comments directly. And chat MVP Sam Jacobowitz, yes, we did get that. And we will email you back. It's great having you guys. We hope we're doing a good job getting you the players that you need to know as you get ready to put in your waiver claims. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to being here again, same time next week.
We're gonna set the internet on fire. When it's killed the queen.